Okay.
Hello and welcome to a non-race episode of Beyond the Checkered. In fact, we are Beyond the Checkered after dark. We are doing cocktails with our conversation post Indy 500 practice week, and what an eventful week of practice it has been.
And pre Indy 500 qualifying episode, right?
Yeah, in fact, we're going to do something fun. I'm a part of an Indy 500 or an IndyCar Fantasy League. There are quite a few of us actually in the league.
Like 50 or something.
No, like 300.
Oh, okay.
It's, I think, I've got to look now. There are a lot of us.
But it's kind of like invite only, right?
Yeah, there's 90. Sorry,
Okay.
there's 91 of us.
Okay.
Yeah, you have to know someone to know someone. Open invitation to Roger Penske. So not that Roger Penske listens to this podcast, but if Roger ever wants to partake and actively be a part of this fantasy league, his dues are covered. In fact, whoever invites him, so I'm claiming that invite. And anything he earns would be donated to a charity of his choice.
Okay.
So, fantasy league, we're going to pick my qualifying drivers together live on the podcast.
Okay.
But let's start with practice. 4 days of practice, 3 at regular boost, and today, Fast Friday.
Yeah. So the 3 days of practice at regular boost was mostly race running.
Correct.
That was a lot of what I saw. And keep in mind, I couldn't watch every minute of practice. I had
a life
and work and a little bit of tennis. And I think my takeaways are the Penske's look good. The Ganassis look good. The McLarens do not look as good as I'd hoped or thought. The Foyts don't look great in race trim.
I disagree. I think Malukas looked really good. I think Santino looked a little lost and then found his feet.
Today?
Yesterday late.
Okay.
Yesterday late, he came in with a smile on his face. Okay. And you know, when he's got a smile on his face at the Speedway, things are good.
Okay. Ray Halls did not look good.
No. Takuma, despite being a rebuilt car, looks pretty good. Louis looks good.
Is that because he just has no fear, or because he knows how to set up his car there, or does he just look, I don't know, why does he look so different from his teammates?
Man, I don't know. And we saw it a lot today in Fast Friday and pre-qualifying. The Ray Hall cars looked lost. And we heard a lot of radio communications, especially from Graham, complaining about kind of a numb front, no lateral bite, no rotation mid-corner, and then loose off. Mm-hmm. And that is terrifying. Let's start with when you're turning into a corner at 240 miles an hour and the front's numb and you can't trust the side of the car, that outside edge of the tire. So you turn in, the car loads up. You want to feel like you're on a rail, right? Yeah. And when it's good, you turn in, you set your hands, that rail drives you down to the apex, you stay on the apex, and then you open your hands at the exit and accelerate off.
Yeah.
That's an ideal feel. Now, I don't know that people are getting a great sense of that feel because of the added weight of the hybrid pack.
Yeah. I think the main takeaway from today was it looked treacherous out there.
Treacherous is a great word.
Like some of the bravest drivers I know are bailing out.
Yeah.
Like they're like, nope, it's not worth a 4-lap run. I think I got enough of the car. I don't need it anymore.
And today's the day you'd see bailing out. Friday, Fast Friday, you're always going to see that bailout. Tomorrow, especially in their first run, you will see lifting and more pedaling of the car. Yeah. And when I say pedaling, throttle on and off, adjusting to come out the other side. Mm-hmm. I think it's going to be differently treacherous tomorrow.
They're talking about wind, a lot of wind.
Now, today's ambient was high 80s.
Yeah.
Track temp, 130 degrees.
Yes.
Super high track temp. When they resealed it a couple of years ago, it darkened the surface, so track temps actually climbed. And what I remember feeling from the cockpit was once you got to about 115, 118 degrees on track temp, the grip degradation was dramatic and got aggressive as far as it fed off the cliff as far as a grip chasm, shoulder, canyon, whatever. You'd fall off the map with the track grip. Massive storm system came through. Hope everyone in Indy was safe. Everyone in the track was locked down and safe. Big thunderstorms, some unbelievable photos from people still at the track. Simon Pagenaud posted this most amazing view of a cloud. That same system produced a tornado in St. Louis before it traveled up I-70 towards Indianapolis. So what that does on the backside of that, the air temp's dropping 15 degrees for tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's going to be so much cooler and cloudy after about noon or 1 o'clock.
Okay.
Which will keep the track temps down.
It'll keep the track temp down. So is qualifying order not going to matter as much tomorrow?
It always matters. I don't know which way it matters, but it always matters.
Well, historically, qualifying order was very important on a hot, sunny day because the track temp climbs, the sunshine climbs, it makes the track greasier, slipperier. So is that not going to be as much of a factor tomorrow?
I think it will still be a factor. I think you still want to go early. And hold on. The reason the draw position is a bigger factor at the Indianapolis 500 qualifying compared to Iowa, Gateway, Milwaukee, Nashville, any of the other ovals. Even when we went to Texas, there's two main factors. Well, there are three pieces total. Firstly, by IndyCar rule, any other qualifying is done from last entrant championship standing to first.
Yeah.
Championship leader goes first because typically you don't have a lot of running before you get to qualifying. You have maybe 1 hour, hour and a half session. So going later gives the championship, you expect the championship leader to be fast, so it builds the drama. B, rubber goes down, it's a benefit.
Wait, you said who goes first?
The last in the championship.
Yes, the
championship leader is the last qualifier to run. At Indianapolis, it is done on a random draw.
Yes.
That order in which the second level of this, the second function of it, is the order in which you pick. Used to be whoever got there first.
Yeah.
One of my favorite stories, Chip Ganassi's dad, Floyd, used to go start standing in line at where they were going to set the table up. Hadn't set the table up to draw the chips yet, but would go stand in line 3 hours before the draw so that he got to draw first for the team. And he
drew for the whole team.
Drew for the whole team. And you can never be mad at Floyd. So it good draw, bad draw, didn't matter. Now, because that process got a little contentious and I don't know, based on fastest times from today, whoever went fastest drew first.
Okay, so that was Dixie.
It was Scott McLaughlin.
Oh, this is
because we have the no-tow report. Okay. So he had the fastest lap time, I believe. So fastest lap speed. So he drew first. Now, the other two factors that matter on why qualifying draw order is important at the Indianapolis 500 for qualifying is it's the longest track.
Yes.
Right? You're doing fastest no-tow time today was 38.7 seconds.
Yeah.
At Iowa, you're doing 18 seconds.
Yeah.
That's half that.
Yeah.
And instead of 2 laps, you do 4. And so it takes longer, not only on the qualifying run, but your warm-up lap. So it's actually a total of about 6 laps. So it's 3 to 4 minutes per car, where at Iowa, it's like a minute.
Yeah.
If they're being slow on sending cars.
Yeah.
So I can't remember the number. I want to say it's 5 or 6 cars an hour.
I think it was 9 cars an hour. Is the
number 8 or 9 cars an hour? So at 9 cars, you're talking 5.5 minutes No, 6 minutes, 6 to 7 minutes a run. That's about right. Yeah, 9 cars.
I think it's 9 cars an hour. So, because like
with no incidents,
yeah,
running on time, no weather,
yeah,
no debris, no track cleanups, none of that. So that's why draws matter. After tonight's big rain, I wouldn't want to go first, despite there being okay. Let's talk schedule before we get to qualifying.
Yes, I want to talk schedule.
So there is a half field session for the first 17 qualifying order group. So in the qualifying order, Marcus Ericsson goes first, Santino Ferrucci goes 17th.
Yeah.
Anyone that runs first through 17th can practice from 8:30 to 9 in the morning.
Yes.
At 9, they throw a green checkered, which means
I just don't know how that is here.
Yeah, it's 5:30. 5:30 Pacific time. Yep. Be on the checkered after dark. Here we go. And then from 9 to 9:30, cars 18 to 34. Will Power is 18th, Rinus VeeKay 34th. Now, the challenge is qualifying then starts at 11 a.m.
Yeah.
So checkered goes on that second group of practice at 9:30. Every single car has to be in the scrum of paddock leading into the tech area 30 minutes before qualifying starts.
Yeah.
So everyone's got to be there at 10:30. When you do a qualifying run, especially in Kill Mixture 9, Death Switch 9, whatever you want to call it, like full boost, full attack, giving it all the beats.
What you mean by that is like full fuel, full, like you've got all those go fast parts. You've got...
I'm more talking about the engine side.
Yes.
So you have likely put all those go fast parts on your car for today's practice.
Okay.
You have set the drag, you have set downforce. The other thing we didn't talk about with the ambient condition coming down 15 degrees. I mean, I heard Pato say on the broadcast today, they're expecting 200 pounds more downforce tomorrow.
Yeah.
Heavier air, heavier downforce. You typically, conditions are such that environmental conditions are more efficient than aerodynamic changes.
Yes.
So heavier air means you could take downforce out to get to the same downforce number, and it would be a lower drag number.
So that is trimming. So you can trim.
You could trim downforce, because the reason you trim downforce is because there is drag associated with downforce.
Yes.
The least efficient parts are...
And drag is like little mini parachutes all over your car.
Yes. Drag, well, yeah. So Alexander Rossi would talk about the different types of drag, especially on an airplane when you're talking about aerodynamics. Drag is the force it takes to push the car through the air at a certain speed. So it is the parachute holding you back.
Yes.
Like, best example, you're driving down the freeway, you stick your hand out like you're giving a stop sign, and then you turn it like you're a wing, and that difference in surface area creates a different drag profile. That's essentially what we're talking about in tiny, tiny increments.
Yes. Super
inefficient parts come off the car first.
Yeah. Like gurney flaps.
Gurneys, wickers, same conversation. Wing extensions, barge boards aren't the most efficient, but people were running them today because they needed as much downforce as they could to finish the run. When it cools off, you get that downforce from the environment. The drag also goes up, but then when you trim the downforce number back to an area you want to be in, you actually trim drag out of the car. And I think you will end up with less drag for the same downforce based on environmental conditions. And some of my engineers' friends will probably tell me I'm wrong if they ever listen to this.
I know you like really want to get a pen and paper out and like do some math, right?
No, because I don't have current data, so I don't know exactly.
Okay.
So that's why you talk.
So how is the car going to feel to people tomorrow? versus today.
Mm.
So Friday versus Saturday, 15 degrees cooler. How is that car going to feel to the drivers?
I think the biggest difference is what the track temp does.
Okay.
If the track temp is for, like, okay, if I was magic wanding this draw,
Okay.
Alex Rossi feels like a really good spot. He's fifth in line.
Yeah.
Kevin Simpson is tough because he had the crash today. He will go out and practice. He'll do an install. They'll do a shakedown. He'll go out. They'll probably try and do 2 runs, heavier downforce, give him a trim. That car is fast enough. They know what to do. It's a Ganassi car. It's the car they ran in the open test that looked pretty good.
Yeah. So the other thing we need to keep in mind when we're talking about tomorrow is you've kind of got a bear situation.
Right.
You don't have to be the fastest. You just don't have to be the slowest.
You don't have to be the slowest.
Yeah.
Because the top 30 cars are locked in the field.
Yes.
At 5:50.
Yes.
Tomorrow night. Not 6 o'clock. The gun goes off at 10 to 6.
Yeah.
If you're on a run and you're improving, Kyle Novak said on the broadcast today, if you're improving and there's an opportunity for you to improve, because we've seen with the hybrid, when you deploy that in a big shot on the last lap, instead of having this slowly degrading lap speed over the 4 laps, it's leveling off or even bumping up because that run out of 4 to the checkered is better.
Mm-hmm.
So if I was a magic wand, I'd want to be 4, 5, 6, which is half an hour into qualifying, 11:30-ish. Track's warming up, but there's rubber going down. Everything's kind of it's kind of the boring time of qualifying. If you think you had an outside shot of the top 12, which is what you have to do tomorrow to then run for pole on Sundays, you have to be in the top 12 when the gun goes off tomorrow night. Right? So I think let's slow down. There's 2 conversations, right? You're talking about making the field.
Yes.
First and foremost.
One car is not going to make the field.
Correct. There's only one car that goes home Sunday night.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm impressed I can talk about that without too much PTSD, having not qualified in 21. There are also 12 cars that are locked in the field and will start no worse than 12.
Yes.
And they will compete on Sunday for a shot at the Fast 6.
Yep.
And then for pole and or the front row. And pole at Indy matters because it's $100,000 check.
And big points, right? I think you get like...
And there are more points, all of that. And you start up front, right? You get a front row photo shoot, you start up front. Track position is still key at Indy. Still a track position race.
Yes.
So I'd want to be in that 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th range even, so that qualifying's kind of boring. If I was 14th, 15th, 16th on the sheet, now Alex Rossi was all the way down in 25th today, but he ran early and he ran during tough conditions.
Yeah.
A lot of the cars that ended up in the top 10, top 13, guys like Robert Schwartzman. I thought I saw a late run from not Callum Ilott.
Callum Ilott's a late.
Yeah, but maybe Louis Foster.
Kirkwood.
Connor Daly, Stingray Robb, all ran really late
in the day.
And the track temp had gone from 125 to 130 to like 115.
Yeah.
And that's when the grip starts to come back in, and all of a sudden it feels pretty good.
Yeah.
So you'd want to run early. I think if you are in the middle, Marco Andretti is a perfect example. 23rd, he's probably going 115, 130. The wind will be picking up. It's a different direction from today. It'll be a little warmer.
And he's kind of struggled with his car all week.
He hasn't. Yeah, he had a lot of pedaling in his qualifying sims today. So to me, I think that's one that, like, as you get later in this group, I think it may mean that you may be talking about a second run for guys like Alex Palou, Joseph Newgarden running 33rd. Will Power 18th probably okay. Scott McLaughlin 27th. Those Penske cars are later in the order. They're going to have to really maximize to be in the top 12. I think they've got the car to do it. They showed consistent pace when they got the balance right today.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm looking for tomorrow. We're 20 minutes in. I'm going to go ahead and talk through who you think in each tier, right? So we have 6 different tiers. Pick one driver from each tier. Tier number 1.
And what are you picking for?
Best starting position.
Oh, okay.
So the way it works is each driver gets the number of points associated with their, in this case, starting position, and then lowest score wins. And there is an aggregate over the season as well. So we have Christian Lundgaard, Pato O'Ward, Alex Rossi, Will Power, Scott Dixon, Alex Blow, Joseph Newgarden, or Scott McLaughlin.
I have thoughts.
I have a coin flip situation here.
I know exactly.
Who would you go with?
I'm going to go with Scott Dixon because Emma was smiling and and the broadcast saw Scott smiling and they mentioned it, but Emma is more competitive than Scott. So
as competitive. I think Scott's more internally competitive.
Yes, but Emma...
When Emma's happy, life is good for her.
When you won at Mid-Ohio, she didn't talk to me for 3 months because she was so mad that you won and Scott didn't.
This is true. So I had a toss-up between Scott Dixon and Scott McLaughlin there. I don't know. Maybe I like Scott's. So I'm going to go with Scott Dixon based on Emma and you. Tier number 2. This one's really interesting.
Yeah.
Colton Herta.
Yeah.
Marcus Armstrong. Felix Rosenquist, Marcus Ericsson, Kyle Kirkwood. So we have 1, 2, 3 Andretti's and 2 Shanks. So is that...
So they're all Hondas.
No. Yes. Sorry. But do you want the 2 cars that are associated with a Ganassi or the 3 cars that are a Herta?
Are at Andretti.
Andretti, excuse me.
I'm going to do Kyle Kirkwood.
I'm going to go with Colton Herta.
Okay.
I think the Andretti cars will be really good
I think they're going to be good tomorrow. They looked steady at the end of the day. I was thinking Kyle Kirkwood because, I mean, both Colton Herta and Kyle Kirkwood are... Oh, wait. I want to see here. Okay. Ooh.
Herta's 15th.
Herta's 15th. Kirkwood's 30th. So I think you did right with Colton Herta.
Yep. Now, if you make it to the top 12, it all resets for Sunday. So, Tier 3, Connor Daly, Takuma Sato, Elio Castroneves, and Santino Ferrucci.
That's also a really rough choice.
It's tough.
I know
there are no easy outs. I think I'm going to really surprise you here.
I think you are too. So Daly's going out the 12th. Sato is
21st.
21st. Elio
is 20th.
20th. And Ferrucci
is 17th.
Okay, so that's not going to make a huge difference. I think you're going to pick Daly, but I'm going to pick Sato.
I was going to pick Daly, and you're going to pick Sato. Okay. Tier 4 is David Malukas, Kyle Larson. Hit the wall today. I don't know how he got away with it, but broke the front and the rear wing, and that was it. Set of tires, front rear wing, and send it. So David Malukas, Kyle Larson, Ed Carpenter, who's been on pole multiple times here, Ryan Hunter-Reay,
you make him
and a champion. That's true. Nolan Siegel, and Christian Rasmussen.
Ed Carpenter, no question.
I don't disagree with you there.
Yep.
Although Rasmussen's had a little better car out of the ECR cars.
Yeah, but Ed's got such a good feel around there, and he knows how to maximize when it's time to maximize.
Yeah, and he's 22nd, and Rasmussen's 29th. Where's Logan? Nolan Siegel is 11th. Yeah, I like that. Now, Tier 5, Robert Schwartzman, Renus VK, Marco Andretti, or Graham Rahal.
Renus.
I'm gonna throw a curveball at you. I'm going Robert Schwartzman.
Because he has such a good qualifying position, and he did well today.
Yeah, he's 4th out.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing seems to phase the kid. He was 13th on the no-toe and top 10 on the qualifying sim lap. So Prema, obviously ready to go. A little late on track, but when they were on track, were ready and awesome.
Okay.
Tier 6, Jacob Abel,
Mm-hmm.
Stingray Robb,
Mm-hmm.
Devlin DeFrancesco, Callum Ilott,
Mm-hmm.
Louis Foster,
Mm-hmm.
Jack Hollywood Harvey,
He
or
needs that
Kiff,
so much.
and that's why it's sticking, and Kiffin
He
Simpson.
needs to stop asking, like talking about it and saying he hates it so much.
I know. So Abel, Stingray Robb, Devlin, Callum, Louis, Harvey, Simpson.
I think Stingray Robb looked great.
Actually, he really did. Were we picking both Young Coast cars here?
But he is down in 28. This one's rough. This one's rough. But Kiffin Simpson's probably going to have the best equipment.
Yeah, but they're going to just set the car up to make the field and lock him in.
Okay. Ooh, Jack Harvey, I think.
Yeah, I was thinking Jack Harvey. Where's Louis Foster? Oh, man, he's back in. He's running 26.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm going to go with Jack Harvey. Agreed. So we have Scott Dixon. So here's my top 6. Scott Dixon, Colton Herta, Connor Daly, Ed Carpenter, Robert Schwartzman, and Jack Harvey. In whatever order in the top 6 there.
Well, it's not top 6. It's out of the group.
I know. Yeah. But if they were top 6, I would be so happy.
Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely. Awesome. Well, it is going to be an extremely interesting qualifying weekend.
Yep.
Broadcasts have been great all week. Starting early tomorrow morning on Fox Sports 1, then going to Fox Sports 2, and then live on Fox from 4 to 6 Eastern tomorrow afternoon.
Okay.
Sunday, we re-rack. Practice, I think, is at noon. The top 12 shootout, I want to say, is like 3 o'clock. Last row is 4:30. And then pole shootout's like 6:30 or 6 o'clock. It's a late Sunday night finish. But in 48 hours, we will know the starting grid for the 109th running of the Indianapolis 500. I think the hybrid has changed how the lap times matter. I think the added weight will mean managing the balance is so important.
Yeah.
If you have a little bit of a looseness or an overloading in that right rear, because of the weight, it burns through it. May mean you have to start left on your tools, set the car up to be way left on the tools, left on the jacker, soft on the front bar, stiff on the rear bar to try and get it to turn early. And then as you go through the run, you have to come off of that. But if you have understeer and bird through the front, you got to be able to get the tools to the left again. I think it really is about balance, balancing understeer, oversteer, balancing the aerodynamic grip so you can stay flat for 16 corners for 4 laps. It's going to be about maximizing and having Tim Cindric did a great job as a guest in the booth today, talking about the drivers having the bandwidth. I think bandwidth to handle all of the stuff going on. The hybrid, the engine settings, the fast jackers to adjust the drag on the straights, the tools, feeling the car, watching the wind, and running 4 laps with no mistakes.
Okay, so who has that which drivers are able to handle that bandwidth?
Scott Dixon, Scott McLaughlin, Joseph Newgarden, Will Power. Even Scott Dixon today talked about missing some stuff. Alex Palou, no question for me. Elio Castroneves, I think, has the ability, and he has that feel. He runs that high line.
I think Rossi has the bandwidth for sure.
Yep. The computing power is there. I think Pato Award has that for sure. Yeah, it's if you think about that brain as a computer, like I think about bandwidth and computing power, there's so much going on. I think Pato's doing a really good job. Really good job. I think
Nolan has the computing power, that's for sure.
Yeah, no moments has been too big for him.
But
He's still got
really had.
He
maybe doesn't have the experience.
Yeah. I think Kyle Kirkwood has shown he's got the capacity to do a really good job. Ed's experience gives him that capacity, no question.
So we've named like half the field now.
Yeah, and that's the thing about IndyCar is it's that close.
Yeah.
Which is why we tune in. That's why we love it.
That's why we love it. That's why we talk about it so much.
Yep.
We love it. Yeah. I watched practice every day this week.
Yeah.
It was so
me
much
too.
fun.
From this couch, you'll notice for those of you that are watching on our YouTube channel at youtube.com/Charlie Kimball, we're in a different location because our daughter is having a sleepover, at least until I move her back to her bed in our room where we usually record. So we are out in our living room where I have been sitting at home doing work on my computer in front of me, watching and listening to the broadcast of practice on the TV. It's going to be great. If you guys are enjoying our podcast, please let us know. We'd love to hear what questions you have. We will do a post-qualifying recap on Monday, may come out on Tuesday so we can catch our breath a little bit. And then we will be in Indianapolis for race weekend. I am so excited about the best season, getting to see Indy in its best season for Memorial Day weekend. I have some commitments at the track that will be coming out in the next week or so. Well, probably the next 5 days because next week is like race weekend.
I only have social commitments.
I know. Pacers facing the Knicks in the playoffs. Pacers and Racers, the fever starting. Man, what a great time to be in Indiana. Cannot wait to get back there. If you have questions about how qualifying works, things like that, hit me up on social. I'm on X at Charlie Kimball, on Instagram at Charlie Kimball, on Facebook at Charlie Kimball as well.
And if you want the recipe for this gimlet, you should hit him up too. It's delicious.
That is all thanks to the interwebs. Thank you guys. And tomorrow we go qualify.
Yeah.